A dangerous all-British heavyweight showdown. Fabio Wardley versus Daniel Dubois. This is the kind of fight heavyweight boxing always delivers on. Two big punches, two aggressive styles, and one clean shot can end everything. On one side, you got Fabio Wardley, the self-made knockout artist who keeps proving doubters wrong. On the other side, you've got Daniel Dubois, a physically gifted heavyweight with elite power and growing confidence. This fight is basically pressure and grit versus power and pedigree. So let's break it down. So first off, let's talk about Fabio Wardley. Wardley's storyline is unique. He didn't come through the traditional amateur system like many top heavyweights. He built himself into a contender through raw talent, hard work, and serious punching power. And the number one trait he has is that knockout power. Wardley can absolutely punch. He carries real heavyweight power in both hands. When he lands clean, opponents absolutely go down. And of course, that has a good combination with his aggression. Wardley fights with confidence and intent. He pushes forward, looks for exchanges, and believes in his power. I mean, the confidence is always there. That mentality makes him dangerous throughout his fights. And of course, he has the heart and the recovery. Wardley is absolutely durable. Wardley has shown toughness in difficult fights. He can get hurt, recover, and come back swinging. That resilience matters in heavyweight boxing. And when you take a look at Wardley's resume, his last 5 fights, pretty impressive. Had a TKO win against Joseph Parker. For that, knocked out Justice Honey, and he had the war facial claw, and then a TKO in round 7 in their second fight. And then a while ago, he did have a TKO win against David Adeleye. I mean, this guy's knockout rate is 95%. Absolutely impressive. That's the thing about this guy. If you're not finishing him, you're most likely going to get finished. He's not a decision fighter. He's not a chess player, all right? Not a point fighter. He's going out there to hurt you. Now, let's talk about Daniel Dubois. Dubois has long been viewed as one of the most talented heavyweights of his generation. Big, powerful, and dangerous. I mean, he has all the natural traits of a heavyweight boxer. Dubois has some of the best raw power in the division. His jab is heavy, his right hand is dangerous, and his body shots are underrated. Daniel Dubois is a natural strong heavyweight with size, reach, strength. You know, you see fighters and they either have one or the other. He has everything. He can impose himself physically. That his most recent fight was a knockout loss to Alexander Usyk in round 5. Before that, he knocked out Anthony Joshua, shocked everybody, knocked him out in round 5, and then before that, had a TKO win against Filip Hrgovic, had a TKO win against Jared Miller, and then, of course, got knocked out by Alexander Usyk. When you look at his record, you'll be like, yeah, it's 2 losses, but it's 2 losses to one of the pound for pound best boxers right now, the most dominant heavyweight champion we've seen in a while, Alexander Usyk. So in my opinion, those 2 losses in his last 5 fights, I'm not gonna hold it against him, honestly speaking. I feel like those losses haven't aged badly. So when we look at the stylistic matchup, like I said, it's pretty much power versus power. Wardley is aggressive, dangerous in exchanges. Dubois is more structured, but he has a heavier jab, more polished power shots. But both men can end this fight instantly, and I do think this fight is absolutely going to end in a finish. Now, the technique for Dubois is generally the most polished boxer. He's more polished, he's cleaner, he's more tactical. He's not really a brawler. He uses a strong jab and straighter fundamentals. Wardley, on the other hand, can be more chaotic and less predictable. That can help him, but that can also be dangerous for him. Now, when it comes to the chin and the recovery, this is a huge factor in this fight. Like I said, it's going to end in a finish. So it's going to be who can be more durable in this fight. Heavyweight fights often come down to who handles adversity better. That's just what it is. Wardley has shown grit over and over again. And to be fair, in my opinion, this is what I always say to you guys, the more you show how tough you are as a fighter, the closer you are to getting finished badly. But I don't think Wardley is right there yet. The guy is durable and he's smart. He's not just gonna go and swing and bang. He is smart about it, but he has that grit. Dubois has answered questions recently, especially after losing his first fight against Usyk. I think he had a nice comeback, of course, until losing to Usyk again, but his durability is still a little question. Now, when it comes to the path to victory for Wardley, the strategy is clear. Make it uncomfortable. Turn the fight messy. Force exchanges. Test Dubois under pressure. This is exactly what he's going to do because it's what he always does. He's going to see how Dubois reacts in chaotic moments, and then he's going to try his best to land something big. Wardley's best chance is catching Dubois in a firefight. If he does, he will win by a KO. That's always his tricks. You know, the fighters will be clean, technical, you know, sometimes get into a brawl, try to land that power jab, but Wardley will take his time and slowly turn it into a brawl. The path to victory for Daniel Dubois, the number one is the fact that he has to stay disciplined. He can't fall for the tricks of Wardley. He can't engage in a firefight and then play Wardley's game. Even though I think he has a bigger knockout power, in my opinion, he can't get into a firefight. He has to keep establishing his jab, and I think that's what he's going to do. It's what he does. He is going to look to control the distance early and keeping up that pace. I think Dubois will focus on being composed. Like I said, don't get dragged into a wild exchange or any unnecessary exchanges. Now, to be fair, Dubois is not someone who typically does that, but I feel like there might be that temptation there to try and make up for his terrible loss against Usyk. But I think if he's a smart fighter, he will be strategic about this. He's going to use his power systematically to wear him out. If Dubois controls the fight, he could win by mid-round stoppage when he lands clean. But again, he really needs to stay composed and avoid getting into any type of firefight. In my opinion, the biggest X factor is who lands clean. That's pretty much it. In heavyweight boxing, momentum can change instantly, and that's the thing. Now, when I say who lands clean, of course, like I said, both guys have that knockout power, right? If they both land clean, something can happen. But to be fair, I feel like Wardley is the type of guy who breaks you down a little bit and then lands a clean one and puts you out. Dubois doesn't even need to touch you, all right, throughout the fight. He just needs that one opportunity. But it's not like he's gonna stay there and be defensive and not throw hands. If he does that, Wardley's gonna destroy him, okay? He has to engage. He has to earn that respect and then look for the opportunity. He should not be chasing the knockout, but do not miss the opportunity once it opens it up. So it's a tight fight, in my opinion. It's a close fight. I feel like a lot of people give Dubois a lot of slack for losing to Usyk. Again, that's one of the best pound for pound fighters right now. I think he's number 2 pound for pound after Naoya Inoue, at least in my rankings. So I'm not even counting his loss to Usyk. Of course, he matters, but in my opinion, losing to someone who's arguably one of the GOATs in the sport, it's not something you would take and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna criticize this guy so much for losing to him. All right, now the fashion that he got knocked out, if Wardley gets that type of opportunity, he's gonna get knocked out as well. But again, Dubois has that opportunity to keep it composed and be strategic. Wardley, on the other hand, man, this guy, imagine regular boxers, they start training from when they were young, technical, clean, all that stuff, and I think Dubois is an example of that. But Wardley is just this street brawler who just found his way into boxing, and now he's a champion, and now he's fighting for belts. That's just what happens. He has the grit. He's been underrated, and I'm part of those people who always underrated Wardley, and the guy proved me wrong over and over again. I do see his potential for sure. This is a dangerous fight because Wardley brings risk, but Dubois has fought the higher level of opposition recently and looked improved. Again, even though he lost to Usyk, he's still a good fighter, a very good fighter. He appears stronger. I don't know. I think when it comes to the confidence, I would give it to Wardley. Now, when I watched their face-off, it was really weird. I feel like both guys did not want to be there, so I guess they can cross each other on that one. Dubois is more polished. Wardley is more unpredictable. I think I'm gonna go with Wardley, man. I think I'm gonna go with Wardley. I feel like the pressure we eventually break Dubois. He's durable. Now, being durable doesn't mean you're just gonna stand there and take shots from Dubois. He's gonna get put out if he does that, but he has a good chin, man, and the guy is gritty. he's just gritty, and I feel like Dubois is lacking in that. I don't feel like Dubois is a gritty fighter. Now I may be sleeping on him, maybe, but from what I've seen, Dubois is not someone who carries himself as a gritty fighter, and I think that's what this fight is going to come down to. It's going to come down to who's more durable, who can crack under pressure faster, who's more confident, who carries themselves with the ring generalship, and I think durability wins in the trenches. So I'm gonna go with Wardley by a KO, probably between round 8 to round 10. But hey, I think it's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. I'm not confident in this one at all. If I'm making a bet, it's probably going to be that this fight is not going to go the distance. But this is a 50-50 fight. It's literally a toss-up, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. But let me know what you think in the comments. If you disagree with anything, go ahead, go off in the comments. If you agree with me, drop a like, all right? Like the video if you like the video. Comment, share, and subscribe to the channels if you want consistent boxing and MMA breakdowns every single week. This is an amazing month in combat sports. I have a lot of content coming your way, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on any of those videos. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.